Hello and welcome for a spaceship design. This spaceship is able to take off and land vertically on our mesh add-on ground. I used a basic cube to make the whole shape and some cylinders because I am just going to make all my designs using just cylinders and cubes for the next videos because it's the best mesh that you can find in basic things and it's a most useful one. I deleted the bottom face of the cylinders, and as you can see I am starting to make the exhaust gas thing. There is no gas in my things because just animating some gas in Blender is really difficult, and I just take more time to do that than to make the actual thing. So I'm making some rings around that to get this clean. I say I'm making, but I made that like 3 months ago because I try to post one video a week and to keep just a rhythm that is almost normal. I just record all my videos way further in time. I don't know if this is grammatically correct, but I am just missing all my words from the beginning of this video. It's awful. At least you can see my model isn't just a complete mess, because for now the mesh is pretty correct compared to the last video, because with the plane was looking pretty nice, but the mesh was a horrible mess. I will never make a project like that. For example, I made something last week and it took me like 10 hours to correct the mesh, but I did a pretty nice job on that. A professional will not have made the same things than me. He would have made better, but at least it's better than the plane. This actual motor will fire air. I don't know if I can say that, but it will use some jet propulsion, and so it's a jet that can take off a very high load. It's one of the most powerful motors of all time, but of course it's science fiction, so I can do whatever I want. We'll use some modifiers to get some screws, because screws are nice, and I'm just making right now the middle part. I've just skipped a thing because I think I just messed up, or I had to make this one by one. And to make this looks a little bit more complicated and complex than it really is, I just duplicate it and make it 3 times like this. When you see it from the top, it looks really complex, but in fact it's not. Then using dynamic sky to make a dynamic sky with green, blue and some clouds, and those motors will have a yellow tint, a yellow color. It's the first time I used some displace modifiers and other. It's texture, relief and some XYZ coordinates to make the little single red glowing on the bottom. I think it looks nice. And then we can just finally use the middle part and the bottom one of the ground. I used some subdivision modifier because I used to like that. English is fun sometimes, but right now I don't use that modifier because it messes your geometry. It looks nice if you are just making an animation and you don't care about the precise geometry, but if you want a real clean thing, it's not good, really not good. As you can see, it doesn't look quite nice because it makes some rounded corners and the points are not very well displaced. I made some openings and windows in case of animation or something like that. I will never animate that, but at each of my projects I made some of things like that make me able to use that in a whole video. I think I will never do that, but anyway, it's done. And this was rendered with my new computer, so the render is pretty nice. I could even use some trees, and this is the final result.